Hello, first graders. We are back. We're still working on empathy. This is our fourth empathy lesson, and we're going to do something today called empathetic listening. It is a really big word. Empathetic listening is really important, and it's something that when I went to college that I actually had to learn as part of being a school counselor is to use empathetic listening. You may also hear people call this active listening, but I like to call it empathetic listening because that's what we're working on right now. So you guys should all be experts at whole body listening by now. So we're halfway through first grade. You've been doing whole body listening back in kindergarten. You've been doing it this year. If you don't remember all of whole body listening, stop the video right now. Click on the filing cabinet in the lesson room. And whole body listening was the first lesson that we did. So you can go back and watch that again if you need a reminder. But empathetic listening is kind of like advanced whole body listening. It's like whole body listening is for beginners, and empathetic listening or active listening is for advanced. So I don't teach this to the kindergartners, and this is part of the reason why is because it's a little bit harder. So there's a few different things we're going to practice and keep in mind when we're using empathetic listening. And they're all designed to help the person who is talking to you feel like you really care about what they're saying. So let's pretend we're going to do one conversation. So let's pretend that I'm going to have a conversation. Someone's going to talk to me and they're going to tell me about their pet dog. So they're going to talk to me about their pet dog. So here's some things that I need to do if I'm going to use empathetic listening. One, I need to look at the person the whole time. If someone over here is talking to me and I'm looking down at my shoes, or I'm looking out the window to check if it's snowing or something like that, are they going to feel like I care about what they're saying? Probably not. It's going to seem to them like I'm not really paying attention if I'm looking around. Now, I know a lot of you are really good at listening and looking around, but if you're using empathetic listening, you're keeping your eyes right on that person that you're talking to. So you're looking at the person talking. Two, you're going to kind of nod and agree or just let them know that you're paying attention to what they're saying. So when you're using empathetic listening, you're looking at the person talking, and you might do things like nod your head or say, uh-huh. So I'm not interrupting them, but I'm listening, I'm looking at them, and I'm nodding my head so that when they look at me, they can see that I'm paying attention, I'm following along. So you're looking at them, you're nodding your head, you're not interrupting, that's really important. And you're going to match kind of what they're feeling too. So if they're talking to me about their dog, and let's say that their dog is sick and they have to go to the vet, if I'm looking at them and I'm nodding along, but I'm smiling, well, they tell me that they're worried about their dog. Would that seem like I care if I'm smiling a lot? Well, they're telling me that they're worried? No. So if they're telling me they're worried about taking their dog to the vet, I'm going to have kind of a serious look on my face. So, so that it doesn't look like I'm too happy. Now, if they're telling me a funny story about their dog, if they're telling me a story about the time that their dog got into something in the house that they weren't supposed to and it was really silly, then I would be smiling. So you want to try to match whatever their feeling is. And that's another way to show that empathy. So if you're talking to someone and they're telling you a story about something that they're happy about or something silly or something fun, you probably smile while you're nodding your head and looking at them. If they're telling you about something serious or sad or scary, you're going to keep a kind of a serious look on your face, a very neutral look. So make sure you're kind of matching whatever you think their emotion is. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. If they're telling me a story and I'm not sure if they're, happy or proud or excited, it doesn't matter. I can still smile for all those because those are good emotions. So you're looking at the person. You're nodding along. You're trying to match what their emotions are as best you can. You're not interrupting. This is important. A lot of times I hear boys and girls who, when someone's talking to them, like let's say someone's telling me about a story about their dog, and I immediately go, oh, I have a cat, Fiona. Now that's true, I do have a cat, Fiona. But if I interrupt them to talk to them about my cat, does it seem like I care about what they were saying? No. And sometimes that's really hard because someone's going to say something and you're going to be like, oh, I really want to share something. I really want to tell them about something that's important to me. But when you're using empathetic listening, you just keep your voice off and you're focused on them. Now, when they reach a part where you think they might be done with the story, you're just going to stay nice and quiet for a minute. But then, part of empathetic listening, the last part, is to ask them a question or comment about something that they said. So again, so important. You have to be paying attention to what they were saying, and you want to comment on whatever they were talking about. If someone is telling me a story about taking their dog to the vet and they finish and I say, I'm going to the movies next week, does it seem like I was paying attention to what they were saying? No, because what I said had nothing to do with what they were just telling me. So if they're telling me a story about taking their dog to the vet, if I'm going to nod, I'm going to look at them, I'm going to keep a serious expression, I'm not going to interrupt them. When they get done with their story and I think they're done, I might say something like, oh, has your dog been to the vet before? I'm asking them a question that has to do with what they said. Or I might say, oh, I'm sorry that it sounds like you're feeling kind of worried. I hope everything goes okay. It shows them that I care about what they were saying and I was paying attention to how they were feeling. So, nodding your head, you're looking at the person, you're trying to match their emotions, you're not interrupting, and when they're all done talking, you're going to say something. You're either going to ask them a question about what they told you, or you're going to make a comment about what they told you. This takes practice. I'm going to attach a sheet to Seesaw where you can use this sheet to kind of go through and practice, maybe practice with your grown-ups, having some conversations to see if you can do all of these. It takes a little bit of work. But if you're good at it, when you get good at it, it really makes the people that you're talking with feel like you really care about what they're saying. So this is a really good thing to start practicing, okay? So we're going to see some scenarios now. Miss Warren has been nice enough to volunteer to help me again with some lessons. So you're going to see me talking with Miss Warren. I want you to pay attention to whether or not I am using empathetic listening. And when I mess up, because I'm going to, and because I want you guys to see, I'm going to put a big red X over the screen so that you can see that was not a good example, okay? But watch and see what empathetic listening looks like and how Miss Warren feels when I'm doing a good job with the empathetic listening and how Miss Warren feels when I kind of mess up, if I interrupt her or I get off topic, okay? All right, boys and girls, this one does take a little practice. Don't get frustrated if it's hard to remember everything to do. Just practice it and practice it and practice it. You'll get better and better at it, and it's a really good way to make your friends and your family members feel like you really care about what they're saying. It's a great way to show empathy. All right, enjoy the situations with Miss Warren and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye. Situation number 1.
Hey, Mr. Kramer, you would never guess what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah?
I'm getting a new dog, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. Mr. Kramer, are you paying attention?
Mr. Kramer was not looking at Miss Warren.
Hey, Mr. Kramer, you would never guess what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah?
I'm getting a new puppy.
I'm going to go to the movies this weekend.
Oh.
Mr. Kramer interrupted Miss Warren and talked about the movies, not what Miss Warren was saying.
Hey, Mr. Kramer, you would never guess what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah?
I'm getting a new dog, and I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Have you ever had a dog before?
Yes, a long time ago, but I'm excited to get a new one.
That's so cool. It sounds like you're really happy.
Yes, very happy and excited.
Mr. Kramer looked at Miss Warren, nodded his head, smiled because Miss Warren was happy, did not interrupt, and asked a question about what Miss Warren was saying. Situation number 2.
Hey, Mr. Kramer, I'm feeling really, nervous.
Nervous?
Yeah. I have a dance recital this weekend, and I'm just so nervous I'm gonna mess up.
Yeah, nervous.
Do you understand how I'm feeling? I'm just feeling really sad.
Mr. Kramer was smiling when Miss Warren was talking about feeling nervous. He should use a serious face for a serious story.
Hey, Mr. Kramer, I'm feeling really, nervous. I have a dance recital this weekend, and I'm feeling really
Hey, it's snowing outside!
nervous.
Mr. Kramer interrupted Miss Warren, and he was talking about snow, which didn't have anything to do with what she was saying.
Hey, Mr. Kramer, I'm feeling really nervous. I have a dance recital this weekend, and I'm afraid I'm gonna mess up.
Sounds like you're kind of worried.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of worried.
Have you ever done a dance recital before?
Yeah, and I did really well.
Oh, I'm sure you'll do really good again this time.
I hope so.
Mr. Kramer looked at Miss Warren and nodded, used a serious expression because Miss Warren had a serious emotion, nervous, asked a question about what she said and tried to reassure her that she would do well, and did not interrupt Miss Warren while she was talking.